Some critics argue that Gamergate was mostly or entirely right wing. Right wing. What do you think of this? Do you think this is accurate?
I do not, and I can say that as someone who was pretty right wing when I joined, and still decently right wing now.
Do you want to talk about your
Where,
politics? Oh, good.
well, like I'll say early on, I kind of that was kind of a big change for me. Was honestly, I hadn't interacted that much with you lefties. I'd Gamergate was a real eye-opening experience to me because before I really joined it, got to talk to people who shared the passion of gaming but had very different thoughts on a lot of other things. I'd assumed left wing and social justice were identical. I did not like. I thought that was just the way, and to see that there actually was pushback on the left from that was a very eye-opening experience to me. That I would have definitely missed out on probably for years if I hadn't joined Gamergate.
So would you say that Gamergate and your experience in it changed your views to some degree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you said, like definitely like instead of instead of like liberals being and social justice warriors being one and the same. It's like for the most part, we want the same things, just have different ideas of how to achieve them. Where social justice kind of goes to extremes that is distasteful to like a lot of the left and the right. But also another big part I'd say was definitely freedom of speech, where I was kind of beforehand I was kind of the like I would say I definitely kind of went more on the libertarian aspect of the political spectrum because beforehand I was kind of like like I I feel my views are being silenced, but if my correct views were in place, then wouldn't need to listen anymore. And it's just kind of yeah, that like had that view blown away. I think for good, just seeing the value of free speech, having the debates, seeing like which ideas stood up to scrutiny, which didn't was is is very valuable. And that was something I was like I hadn't considered before then anywhere near as the level I should have.
Are you okay with gaming websites criticizing games through a political or religious lens, such as a Marxist, feminist, Christian, or other lens?
Absolutely, assuming like they because I remember when Gamergate was like listing like the sites they considered ethical, and it's still around now is actually Christ-centered gamer, I believe, which like lists okay like just gives a traditional review and also well there's swearing and there's drinking and there and like this and there's one character who shows cleavage where like but it you know it blatantly gives you the angle it's coming from and if you're going to that site you're getting that perspective and you're getting that perspective where if it's just like a general games review and you're getting a Marxist review like I would rather have more than one option or that be on a site geared towards Marxists. I think that'd be the better approach. Like I'm not opposed to it in general, just the context and being open with what that is.
So they should, in your eyes, make it clear that hey, look, this is the perspective we're coming at it from, and then you can decide
Yeah,
to take that as however you want.
yeah.
Some people say that Gamergate was the first battle of the culture war. Do you have any thoughts on that framing?
I'd say that's pretty fair. Where it's where I think one of the kind of interesting things about it is, 9 years later, it's still kind of being brought up as a boogeyman, and that's not something that happens with something that was, just a flash in the pan that didn't mean anything.
What do you think?
But
Obviously, oh god,
sorry, go ahead.
you're not going to get another chance to answer the questions, so definitely
No, go ahead.
take full.
It was going to. I'm sure it was going to be a ramble. Go ahead.
All right. Obviously, you're a bit more on the right, and that's fine. I think it's great that Gamergate had people on the left and the right coming together to build a better gaming industry. I think that's amazing. I think that's actually we need more things like this in the world where people put aside their partisan differences and just come together. But there is also this framing that Gamergate was perhaps a battle within the left. between those who believed in small L liberal democratic values and those who don't. What do you think of that framing?
I think that that's fair. Like there was definitely a lot of left leaning people who were definitely fighting against ones who just like had very incompatible views. And like I said, at the one of the things about it is there's that old zinger like so much for the tolerant left. But what I found was the GamerGate crowd once because I was kind of shy about mentioning my right leaning beliefs early on. Once I did, like there was disagreement, but it was like it was cordial. People were willing to discuss it on the GamerGate side, which I respect and got closer to a lot of people and like reconsidered things because of that. Like more
Yeah,
than like the whole like oh you don't feel this way about the specific policy, well then you hate everyone everywhere.
yeah. I didn't even know you
Where that
were. I didn't even know you were more conservative until we talked, like literally just now. I just found out, so it doesn't bother me. I
yeah
think it's cool. I think it's cool that we have these disagreements,
yeah
unless you're like a Nazi or something. But even even then, like I don't believe in like I believe Nazis should have free speech. I think that we should treat that with compassion and empathy and also like argue against their ideas. I don't think that like this idea of like,
yeah
oh, you said something racist on Twitter 8 years ago, now your entire life has to be over. I think that's a really
yeah
unhelpful way to approach it. And obviously you're not a Nazi, right? So,
right yeah
cool. Yeah.